Hello nerds, and welcome back to the channel, and welcome to another Sims building scare. Today, I kind of, okay, well not today, but on my last Sims building scare stream, I wanted to kind of give Vlad's famous mansion a little makeover, you know, Vlad the vampire. I was thinking, like, Vlad, you live by yourself, why do you need a freaking mansion? So I kind of wanted to go with a more like tall, you know, like the tall, like, creepy vampire, like Victorian houses or like mansions that you kind of see. And then, like, I also really wanted to do it on a hill. I did not show that in the video because it was so it took me way too long to do just this tiny little hill, and it was very embarrassing how long it took, so we don't see that. But while we watch this speed build today, why don't we talk about real life vampires? That's right. So we're actually going to be talking about a vampire murder cult. And, you know, I said this before, you're probably thinking, wow, you're probably talking like the 1700s, you know, 1500s. No, I'm talking about the 90s. The story happened in the 90s. Yeah, so let's get into it. Rod Ferrel was born March 28th, 1980. His mom was Sandra Gibson. She was only 16 when he was born, and his dad wasn't really in the picture. Apparently his dad was like, I don't know if it was like a high school sweetheart thing with his mom, but like once Rod was born, he wasn't really like in the picture, so I don't know. So you know, Sandra was young, so she often would leave Rod with her grandparent, or not with her, with his grandparents, her parents, and she would kind of go off and party, and like her parents were like, okay, like we really don't want to take care of your kid, but that's just like what happened. I read a little thing that mentioned that when Rod was 5, that his maternal grandfather apparently like molested him. I only saw it in like one place, and I didn't see anything else on it, so I don't know if that's true. But also, like, if it is true, why are you leaving your kid with this family? It just like makes it even worse that like this mom is doing that. And although they had like a rocky life, you know, they moved between like Florida and Kentucky often. He was born in Kentucky, by the way, in Murray, Kentucky. So like, anyways. So they moved like back and forth, and they kind of had like a rocky life, like, you know, but Sandra and Rod bonded over their love for vampire movies and comics, which, you know, sounds all sweet and nice until you find out that when she was 34, she was caught with a 14-year-old boy performing like a blood ritual that was very sexual, apparently, with a 14-year-old. She had also been like writing him love letters and stuff that really fucked up. So she was under probation for that when she was like 34 or 35. Yeah, so there's that. But also, you know, it kind of gets a little more fucked up because, you know, he, you know, joins and makes a whole vampire cult, which is fine and all. Do your vampire thing. But this is bad. Like, the way he goes about it is bad. Just bear with me. We'll get into it. When he was a teenager, when Rod was a teenager, they were living in Florida. He dropped out of high school in Florida, and then they moved back to Kentucky, Murray, Kentucky, and he enrolled again. And that's when he met Jaden. But before we get to Jaden, I just want to let you know that Rod saw himself, he didn't see himself as like a 16-year-old teenage boy. He saw himself as a 500-year-old vampire named Fosgo. Am I saying that right? Fosgo? You know what? I would say I'm sorry if I'm mispronouncing it, but fuck this guy. So, yeah, he was a 500-year-old vampire. That's what he thought. Anyways. So anyways, he basically, like, would do like he would dress like, you know, kind of like, I guess, vampire, which is like, once again, fine and all, just not this guy, just not this guy. And he, you know, dressed up. He liked to play this like D&D styled vampire game. I think it was called like Vampire Masquerade, something like Massacre, I don't know, something along those lines. Anyways, so in 1995 he meets Jaden, whose real name is actually Steve, but Jaden is like his vampire name. Jaden also believes he is a vampire. And in 1996, a year after like being friends and stuff like that, Jaden invites Rod to his vampire clan, like his little vampire group thing. And so they performed this like blood drinking ritual. It was 100% consensual, like that's what they did. And, you know, Rod became a part of this group, this vampire group, which is all fine and dandy. This group is actually like, you know, very modern. They were very about, you know, they only drink each other's blood. Which is still weird. It's still kind of weird, and I hope they were being safe and like got tested and all that and didn't have anything. It's still a little, but at least they weren't like, you know, going around like, I don't know, murdering people and drinking, you know, yeah. Anyways, so that was all fine and dandy. Unfortunately, you know, Rod wasn't really with that. Rod was kind of like into some heavy drugs. He was very violent. There was, you know, a story, which I'm not going to get into, but he basically like, I don't even want to get into it, but he took like a cat and he like hurled it into a tree, like threw it just because it like clawed at him. Terrifying. But yeah, so the group was already kind of like, I don't know, this guy is a little violent. We don't really know if we want him in the group. But then Jaden and Rod ended up getting in this really big fight. It got really bad, and pretty much, you know, Rod got kicked out of the group. So Rod ended up forming his own like clan group, cult, I don't know what you want to call it. He really creative. He came up with the name the Vampire Clan. Yeah, 10 out of 10. Would recommend. Great name. Great. Fantastic. Wow. You're so creative, Rod. Out of everything. Like, you literally think you're a vampire and you can't come up with anything better than the Vampire Clan? Hello. Bloodsuckers. I don't know. Anything. Like, sharp... I don't know. I could... Give me 20 minutes and I'll think of something. Anyways, so the Vampire Clan consisted of course, Rod, the leader of the clan. There was, by the way, I'm sorry if I mispronounce names. There was Michael Schaefer, who was 15 years old. Charity Kesey, who was 16 and also Rod's girlfriend. There was Dana Cooper, who was 19. So she's like kind of older than the rest of them. There was Scott Anderson, who was 16, and Heather Windorf, who was 15. And by the way, Heather and Dana, I want to say, yes, Heather and Dana were friends of his that lived in Florida, and Heather was actually an ex-girlfriend. Even though he was dating Charity, him and Heather were like always on the phone together, and Heather would be like, oh my god, my parents are the literal worst. Like, I hate them so much. Like, they're so mean to me. Like, blah, blah, blah. And Rod claimed that Charity was like, hey, yeah, like, I wish, like, you could just, like, come, you know, down here and kill my parents. Heather claims she never said that, but there's speculation. So, yeah. I guess there was, like, some stuff going down in Kentucky, like, around their area, and a lot of people were like pointing fingers at these like vampire groups that were popping up. So, you know, Rod and the Vampire Clan were like, we really want to get out of here. Like, we don't like living here. There's a lot of finger pointing, speculations, stuff like that. So they really wanted to go to New Orleans, because there is actually a very big vampire like scene in New Orleans. Who would have guessed? I don't know. I kind of like knew the voodoo witchy stuff going on, but I didn't know about the vampire stuff till recently. Kind of interesting. You should look into it. So they wanted to go to New Orleans. So basically they like planned this like trip thing. They were gonna go pick up, they were gonna go pick up Heather and Dana from Florida, and then they were gonna go to New Orleans. No big deal. That was the plan. So, on November 25th, 1996, Rod took a bunch of acid, and drove 12 hours to Florida on acid. Isn't that fantastic? He called up Heather, and he was like, hey, you know, we're almost to you. Are we coming to get you? Like, Dana's in. Are you in? Like, what's up? And she's like, yeah, totally. Their car broke down, and, you know, of course, they were like, what are we gonna do? Oh, I know what we'll do. We'll steal Heather's parents' car, obviously. Like, you know, whatever. So Heather was like, yeah, I'll come out, I'll bring you the keys, and then you can go in and steal the car. Because, you know, I don't know why she didn't want to just take the car. I feel like that would have been way easier. But she was just going to bring out the keys. So, they drive up. I guess they parked like a block or so away. I don't know. They weren't like at the house directly. Heather like meets them where they like are parked. She forgot the keys. Oh, oh no. Like, what happened? But before they did anything, you know, before they like went and stole the car, Rod was like, hey, I want to know that you're like 100% in this, like you want to be a part of this vampire clan. So they did their little blood ritual thing. And Heather was like officially like a part of the clan now. So Rod and Scott go to the house. And they kind of do like a little like look around the house, like on the outside, just to like, you know, I don't know, they like peep in the windows, I guess, check everything out just so they know like what's going on. Kind of weird, because like if you're just going in to get keys and like steal a car, why wouldn't you just be mostly focusing on like, hey, where are the keys, just let me know? I don't know, it just seems, it's very, very sus. They also Rod and Scott went in with like sticks as like, you know, protection. Why do you need protection? I don't know. Like, what do you think this dad and mom are going to do to you? Like, I don't know. So Naomi Windorf was in the shower, and who was the mom, and Richard Windorf, the dad, was laying on the couch, sleeping. They entered through a washroom, like I said, and they like started to walk past the dad on the couch, and I guess he started to like wake up, and so Rod, he actually ended up finding a crowbar, because, you know, like, fuck a stick, and he took the crowbar and he smashed, he smashed Richard on the top of the head, and then began like beating him to death and stabbed him. Why so much? Like, if you were trying to just like get keys, maybe just like knock him on top of the head and then like, you know, grab the keys and go. But no, he bashed his head in and then beat him so bad that he died, and stabbed him while he was at it. What the fuck? Also, if you're, I don't know, yeah, just fucked up. Obviously, okay, so I guess, okay, Rod said that Scott, in like an interview, that Scott was like stunned. He was like frozen with fear, like so like scared. But then also said that they like did like a dance over the dad's like dead body. What the fuck? Well, which is it? Was he frozen, or did they do a dance over the dead body? I don't know. Fucking weird. So they looked for the car keys, and then mom walked in, and she was like just like in a robe, you know, she just got out of the shower. She probably like heard shit going downstairs. And she came in, and she saw them, and she lunged at Rod, and Rod ended up she like kind of had him like pinned down, and she was like had like her like nails like digging into him, like, you know, like self-defense. She didn't really have anything. She was like freaking in a robe. Like, imagine like someone breaks into your, literally the worst fear, someone breaks into your house and I'm like getting out of the shower. Like, absolutely not. Like, what do you do? So she's like, you know, got her like nails into him, and he like bashes the back of her head, and yeah, he ends up killing her as well. And then he stole the keys. They stole the keys and they ran out of the house. And they fucking left. Heather's 17-year-old sister came home that night and found the bodies, which, just like, imagine coming home from, I don't know what she was doing, if she was hanging out with friends, if she was like at work, whatever, but you just like come home and you're like thinking like, oh, parents are gonna be in bed probably, whatever. Who knows? What if she was like, you know, sneaking in? She like, you know, like, oh gosh, I'm past curfew. She comes in and she sees like her parents are fucking dead. And then to later found out that you're like, it was your sister's friends who fucking did it. Like, what the hell? I don't know. That shit's just fucked up. That shit's just fucked up. Okay. So, the vampire clan took off in the car to New Orleans. They got pulled over 5 times. 5 times, from like Florida to Louisiana. 5 times. And Rod would just be like, oh, just like tell them, like be cool, like just tell them that we're college kids and we're like on a trip, you know, no big deal. And apparently it worked until, you know, finally, apparently it worked. Eventually when they were in Louisiana, Charity called up her parents, and I don't know if she was just like kind of like doing a check-in thing, just being like, hey, just so you know, this is where I'm at. Maybe she was dumb and like, I don't know why she called her parents, or if they like knew exactly what had happened, or I don't really know. But Charity called up her family and she told them where they were, and Charity's family called the police. Good on them. Thank goodness. Immediately when they were arrested, Rod said, I did it all. Please, like, let my clan go. Like, it was all me. It was my plan. It was all me. Like, that's what he said. He just wanted his people to be set free. His followers to be set free. What the fuck? And yeah. So, detectives got Charity to admit that she knew that the plan was to kill Heather's parents. So Charity and Dana say that they tried to convince them not to do it. And then Scott said that he was supposed to kill the dad and Rod was supposed to kill the mom, but he like got scared and Rod kind of like took over. And then Heather claimed that she never asked Rod to kill her parents, and Dana even said that Heather didn't even know her parents were dead until they were leaving Florida. And like apparently like Heather was like super like, oh my god, like my parents are dead. Like she was very like hurt about it and shaken, and like I don't know, at that point, if that was true, I would have been like, stop the fucking car and let me out, like for real. Or like as soon as I got pulled over, like the first cop, I would have been like, yeah, these motherfuckers killed my family. I think she's full of it. I truly do. But for some reason, Heather got off with absolutely no charge. No charge. Nothing. Charity and Dana pled guilty to accomplice and third-degree murder and armed burglary and robbery. Charity got 10.5 years, and she was released in 2006. Dana got 17.5 years. She was released in 2011. If you remember, Dana was like 19, so I think that's like the only reason that she got a higher thing, because technically she was like a legal adult. Scott got life without parole, and then Rod originally was sentenced to death, but then the Supreme Court did the whole thing, so like anyone who was like things that like anyone who was like sentenced to death who was like under 18 and was like a minor, it would get like changed. So they like kind of like re-evaluated the whole case and like did like a whole other court case to decide what was going to happen to him, and he ended up getting life without parole. Not like just life without parole, he got life parole. He's like rotting in jail. So there you have it. That is the story of murdering vampire clan. First of all, fucked up. I don't care what you do. If you want to, think you're a vampire. If you want to consensually drink blood from people, you know, whatever, do your thing. Not my thing, do your thing. But I don't know, don't fucking murder people. Disgusting. I hope you enjoy the Sims build. Thank you so much for watching. Be sure to like, comment, subscribe, all that jazz. And I will catch you in the next one. Bye, guys.